guys here, and I want to share with you today some cool side control stuff that I've been working with. So, my knee's been jacked up for a few months and I can't really use mount position, so I've had to really get good at side control. The side control was one of the first positions I used to use a lot, and then when I started training more classical Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I started focusing on always getting to the mount or the back, and I started neglecting side mount a little bit. But this injury has forced me to go back to the side mount. And recently, about a year ago actually, I was in South Africa training with a good friend of mine, an excellent black belt, and he showed me these two game-changing principles for the side mount that have really helped me a lot, and I want to share them with you guys today. So my buddy Us is going to help us out, and so let's look at these two principles. So the first one is, most of us are taught, when we get the side mount, the first thing you want to do is hold on to your opponent. Hold him tight. Don't let them move. Now, my buddy Khalil, who, even though he's a Jiu-Jitsu black belt, he's mainly an MMA fighter, he explained to me that wasn't working for him, holding onto the opponent like that. Because if he was holding, he wasn't able to use his hands, and he needed his hands to be able to strike the opponent from side mount. So what he said he did is he started to use body movement to control the opponent instead of holding. And I started to play around with it, and I actually think it's a very valid way of controlling the opponent's side mount, because it's far less energy intensive. When you hold and squeeze your arms like this, it burns a lot of energy. You get tired quickly. Whereas when you're moving your body, it's not, from the top especially, it's not that energy intensive. So once I get here to the side mount, what I'm going to do, I imagine that this part of my body here, my torso, from my pelvis up to my shoulders, it's like a block or board. And I want that board to always be wobbling. I never want it to be a stiff board. Because if that board is stiff, what my opponent can do is he can feel where it is and then start his escape. Whether that escape is pushing the board off him or moving himself away from the board, he needs that board to be stiff in order to create space or to create his escape. So I keep that board wobbling constantly. So if I pass and I get here, the first thing I'm going to do, Oscar's going to start setting his arms into posture to push me up, or his elbows against me. I just start moving here. Moving my hips. If he's pushing against my hips, I just twist them. If he's pushing against my upper body, I just twist it the opposite way. It's those two sections, your shoulder girdle and your hip girdle, those will always be moving. So he pushes the hip, drop. Or if he pushes the other way, I just keep moving it. If he pushes here, I can go that way, or I can go that way, as long as I never give him that stiff board. Because now if he pushes to make space, he creates that space. As opposed to if he starts to push there, I've moved. So that constant wobbling motion really makes it difficult for him to counter your side control, and also leaves your hands free, so you can start fishing for chokes or use your hands to block his hips, or maybe just put some pressure on his neck or whatever. Your hands are free, or keep your balance. Just better because they're free, they're not holding tight. So that's the first concept, and that's really changed my side mount game. And the second one that I absolutely love is, so initially, again, we're all taught side mount is a perpendicular position. Your opponent's body's running this way, and then you hold him like this, perpendicular to him. But what my buddy explained to me is that he doesn't like to be in that perpendicular position, because if you're like this, your feet and your hips are naturally close to your opponent's feet and hips. What does that mean? It means that for him to re-guard or catch you in half guard, his legs don't have much distance to go, right? He just has to catch my leg in half guard. Yeah, that's it. He's got my leg and he's got me. So if I get sloppy, he gets my leg straight away, right? So what he says is, he never goes perpendicular. He goes at a 45-degree angle, right? So now my legs and feet are far away from his legs and feet. So if he tries to grab my legs, look, they're far away, right? Very difficult for him to get them. Another cool thing about this is, I find with this 45-degree side mount, I can put a lot of pressure on his jaw. Instead of using my arm like in classic side mount, I use my rib cage, almost like a north-south choke here. And as long as I keep my rib cage against my opponent's jaw and do not allow him to turn his head towards me, it's very difficult for him to turn to his knees to escape. So now I've dealt with him re-guarding me, and I've also dealt with him turning towards his knees to escape because I'm controlling his head with this rib position. The only real danger is if I lift my hips too much, sometimes he can bridge and roll me over that shoulder. So the way I'm going to stop that from happening is I put my hips on the ground here and I stay low. And in that way, there's no way he can roll me over that way. He has to be like 50 pounds heavier than me to be able to even think about doing that. And then even then it's very difficult. So now, when I put those two things together, when I get to the side mount, as soon as I've passed the guard, I start to drop my weight and I'm looking. Two things. The first is to get to here. That's when I say, okay, I'm inside mount. And the second is when he's pushing against me, I'm constantly swimming my body, swimming my hips, swimming my upper body to never allow him to connect with that board. And then I just keep running around from this 45 to that 45. I never run anywhere near the legs. So my control is now like a semicircle over here that I'm working with. So here, I might move to here, and then I'll move back. But at no point am I allowing my legs to get close to his legs, because then he'll catch onto them. Or grab the half guard or re-guard, and then I lose the position. Thanks, Oscar. So that is I think two really cool understandings about the side mount. The first is think about using your body to control the opponent as opposed to your hands. And the second is try to get to a 45-degree angle instead of a perpendicular angle to control your opponent in the side mount. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.